I'm going to make this lovely piece of maple here gleam. Okay, I can feel that the linseed oil has done its, kind of feels like velvet on it. You know, it's tacky. It needs to be burnished, buffed down, and then I need to get some wax on it. And I've been running my little heater here because the weather has turned into November. Geez, what a surprise. It's November, and it feels like November. So we got wet, cold rain coming down. It's about 45 degrees. That's why I got my funny hat on. Keep my ears warm. So now, as you can see, a little bit of shine from when I do my finger on it like that. So when I burnish this thing in, then it's going to feel totally different. Like right here, slightly tacky and almost feels like you're rubbing the skin of a porpoise or something. And then this, once you rub it down with your finger and push the oil into the wood and warm it up and all that. So literally, when they say hand-rubbed oil finish, it literally is hand-rubbed. I mean, what I'm doing is I am rubbing my skin up and down on this thing. You can use a piece of bison hide or, you know, whatever, but I'm gonna actually rub it by hand until it feels right, and then I'm gonna start putting wax on it. So that'll be fun. Yeah, there's something kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Something kind of meditative, connective, primitive about applying Len wax to something, because it's an incredibly simple thing. You just have to burnish it into the material, but it's extremely slow and time consuming. You can't just whip out the spray gun and squirt it and be done with it in 5 seconds like you would if you were doing something production with lacquer. It's a whole different animal, and it's very rewarding because as you're doing this, you start to see things coming out of the wood that you didn't see before, because you're filling up the pores and you're making little lenses on all those tiny pores. So what I've got is I got the camera set to macro here, and let's see if you can see the change that I'm seeing by eye with the camera. I don't know. I'm gonna rub this area right here. You see how big my finger is. And it didn't look like much was going on there. Looks pretty plain. Looks like there's not a whole lot of those stripes or that glow that you see. But I'm going to burnish it with the wax, and then let's look at it and see if you see any difference. So sort of a before and after. I don't know, will the camera focus? I don't know if it works that well at macro. Can you see the light and dark spots? I guess it doesn't work as good on macro as it does when you start to pull away. If you can see what I'm doing here. But I'm going to put a little wax in here, and then we'll just pull back and see if you see any difference in the before or after. Alright, let's see what happens. Alright, so if the camera will focus on the stick and not the floor, that would be really handy. This is the first coat of wax, applied, burnished in, then buffed off using this polypropylene fleece here. I'm not sure if you're picking up on the gleam. It's got like a warm glow to it now that it didn't have with just the linseed oil. Linseed oil is a little dull, brought out the color, so it's a little dull. And I'm going to apply another coat of wax, same way you saw me, just rubbing it into each flat. See, I'm going to try not to bore you with the details of this too much, but here we go again. This time I'm laying it on a little piece of cardboard because I don't want to pick up any dirt. Even though I've wiped my bench down with naphtha, we're still seeing little tiny specks of things I didn't want. So I'm hoping that this piece of corrugated is cleaner than my bench. We'll find out when I start rotating it, because the wax is very tacky, and anything it touches is going to pick it up. It buffs back out, but I'm just trying to avoid introducing any filth. The second coat of wax goes a lot faster because the surface is so slick now, and it won't take much wax. Just won't take much. So a few rubs and it's starting to move. It's time to move down. Doesn't help to put more wax than the wood will take. You can only give the wood what it's going to take. Again, I don't know if the camera is going to cooperate. This is the wax before it's buffed, and then I'm going to buff it and see if you guys see any kind of difference. I can see it, but then again, you know, camera, artificial light, old cob, wearing glasses. Alright then. So when I first start buffing it, it's really sticky. It's really even hard just to even move the fleece against it. The reason I like polypropylene fleece is it doesn't shed, and it's kind of hard, so it kind of slicks the wood more so than cotton. And I just buff back and forth until it's, I mean, right now, it's really easy to move. And I'm always moving my rag around because I don't want to dull it with, you know, old wax compound on there, so I just keep moving around. You want a pretty good sized fleece when you're doing it. Alright. Okay, so unwaxed, I mean waxed from here, you know, my finger drags across it here. My finger slides across it like slick, so it may not be entirely just visible stuff, it's how it feels. This feels perfectly smooth and slick, just ever so slightly tacky. I mean, not tacky like you would pick up dirt with it, but tacky that when you grip it, your hand doesn't slip out of it. It gives you good grip. This is too tacky. This would just pick up filth and dirt and stuff because it's got all this excess wax on it. So I'm just going to keep on stroking. And I think this will be the final coat. It's starting to look like it's not really taking up much more wax. So, like for instance, if I hold it at just a certain angle, can you see it? Look at that. It's warm. It doesn't have a distinct gloss. It's not like, oh, look at the lacquer. But when you rotate it, you can see it is shiny. It's so flat. It's reflecting the shadows off the cardboard and everything. I don't know. Anyway, more subtleties the camera probably didn't capture. And it really doesn't matter because when my client opens up his package and holds it in his hand, that'll be the proof of whether or not I did a good job. Because he emails me back and says, thank you. That was awesome. And I know I did the right thing by him.